Good day, Springford math students. This is Mrs. Smith. Lesson 1, Area of Parallelograms, page 665 in your math workbook. Independent practice. Find the area of each parallelogram. Question number 1. Note that it says that we should show our work. So hopefully you've each shown your work. All right. We're going to find the area of this parallelogram. We know that area equals the base times the height. So we're going to count out the base. The base is the bottom. 1, 2, 3 units times the height. Now the height is always perpendicular to the base. So this is indicated by our dotted line. And we know the dotted line is perpendicular because it has this little box here. So we're going to count up 1, 2, 3. So the height is also 3 units. Area equals 3 times 3, which is 9. So our area is 9 units squared. Notice that each of these units is actually a square. You could also say 9 square units or 9 units squared. Now, I don't know if this is a centimeter by centimeter or inch by inch. Because it doesn't tell me what the specific unit is, I'm just going to write the word units. Question number 2. In this question, we don't have a picture, but we do have some information. We have that the base is 6 millimeters and the height is 4 millimeters. Again, our formula is that area equals the base times the height. So we're going to plug in what we know. We don't know the area, that's what we're solving for. We do know that the base is 6 millimeters. And our height is 4 millimeters. Our area equals 6 times 4, which is 24. And we are millimeters by millimeters, means it's millimeters squared. So our area is 24 millimeters squared. Question number 3. We're going to find the area of this parallelogram. Area equals the base times the height. We know that the base is the bottom. We don't have a measurement for the bottom. We do have a measurement for the top, which is parallel to our base here. In a parallelogram, opposite sides are the same length. Okay? So if the top is 8 centimeters, the bottom is 8 centimeters. So our area is going to equal 8 centimeters times, I have 2 measurements to choose from now, 9 centimeters and 12 centimeters. We have to decide which one is the height. Remember, the height needs to be perpendicular to the base. 12 is not perpendicular to the base here. Okay, this angle is not perpendicular. 12 is simply the length of this side. 9 is perpendicular, and I know it's perpendicular because of this little box. That little box tells me that that angle is 90 degrees, and 90 degrees means that it's perpendicular. So the height of this shape is 9 centimeters. Area equals 8 times 9, which is 72, and it's centimeters by centimeters, which means it's centimeters squared. So the area equals 72 centimeters squared. Question number 4. Find the base of a parallelogram with an area of 24 square feet and height 3 feet. So sometimes I feel like it's helpful to draw a shape. Now, a parallelogram can be any four-sided shape where the opposite sides are parallel. So a rectangle is a parallelogram, as well as a shape that's slanted like this, okay? These are both parallelograms. Now, of course, I overdrew that one just a little bit, but let's see here. So both of these are parallelograms because the opposite sides are parallel. Okay, we can indicate these with these little directional arrows, okay? Now, we're going to have to find the base, okay, of the parallelogram. So we don't know what the base is. So that we don't know. We do know that the area is 24 square feet. So the area equals 24 feet squared. Area equals 24 feet squared. And the height is 3 feet. Now the reason I drew these two shapes is because, and I'm going to change my color of pen here, in this case, for the rectangle, the height would actually be one of the sides because the side is perpendicular to the base. So this would be 3 feet. Now, in my parallelogram, though, the height is not going to be one of the sides. It could be illustrated like this, okay? This would be 3 feet. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. Now, let's take a look at our formula. Area equals the base times the height. We were given the area. The area is 24 feet squared. The base we don't know. That's what we're solving for. And the height we were given, and that's 3 feet. We have to figure out, and we can do this mentally, okay, what times 3 is going to give us 24. And if you're good with your multiplication facts, you know that that's 8. We know that 8 times 3 equals 24. So we know that the base is going to be 8. The base equals 8 feet. Now, I'm going to prove that to you algebraically, though. We're going to divide both sides by 3 feet. Okay. 3 feet divided by 3 feet cancels each other out, which leaves us B on this side. Now, I'd like to break up this so that you can really see what's happening here, okay? Before I do, okay, let's take a look at this. 24 divided by 3 equals 8. So I'm going to do something, I want to break this up, okay? This is 8. Now, I want to take a look just right here, okay? This is actually feet times feet over feet. Okay, that cancels each other out and leaves me with 8 feet equals the base. So that's the proof algebraically. Okay, so the area is 24 feet, the height is 3 feet, and our base equals 8 feet. Question number 5. Find the area of the parking space shown to the right. Now, I'm sure you've been, shopping, and not all parking spots are parking spots that you pull in straight. Sometimes they park slanted, which creates a parking spot that is a parallelogram. Okay, so here is our parallelogram. All right. Now, where the curb would be, would be your base, and in this case it's 9 1/4 feet long, and the height, which is perpendicular to the base, is 18 feet. Okay, and this little symbol again means that it's perpendicular. So this is an everyday solution. Area equals base times height. Area equals 9 1/4 times 18. And this is feet, and this is feet. Okay. Now you can choose to solve this with fractions, or you can convert 9 1/4 to 9.25. So you can choose to multiply with fractions, or you can choose to multiply with decimals. Now, I personally feel like it would be easier to multiply with decimals, so I would do that. Because it's written in fractions, I'm going to model fractions. All right, so we have 9 1/4 times 18 over 1. So we have to change this to a mixed number. I'm sorry, we have to change the mixed number to an improper fraction. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 1 is 37. I can reduce. I'm going to divide by 2, which is 2. Divide by 2, which is 9. And then I have 2 times 1 is 2. And I'm going to do 37 times 9. 37 times 9. And you are more than willing to use a calculator, or you're more than welcome to use a calculator. 9 times 7 is 36. 9 times 3 is 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, so we have 306 over 2, and 2 goes into 30 15 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So our area equals 153 feet squared, because again, I'm doing feet by feet. Question number 7. The base of a building is shaped like a parallelogram. The first floor has an area of 20,000 square feet. If the base of this parallelogram is 250 feet, can its height be 70 feet? Explain. The first thing we're going to do is draw a floor plan. So we're going to draw a parallelogram. So this would be the first floor. Okay, that's a rough drawing of a parallelogram. All right, so the area will be 20,000 feet squared. And then the base will be 250 feet. And the proposed height is 70 feet. So we want to know, can all of these things be true? All right, well, let's see. Will the area equal 20,000 feet if the base is 250 and the height 70? So let's plug those numbers in. 250 feet times 70 feet. So we can do some math here. You can use a calculator, but sometimes it's nice to practice your math. So we have a 0. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 2 is 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, and we have feet times feet, so that's feet squared. So when we plug in those numbers, our area equals 17,500 feet squared. Now our goal was 20,000 feet squared. So no, that does not work. So what would the height have to be in order for us to get 20,000 feet squared? All right, so I'm going to change the pen color because we're solving for something different. I'm going to go with red here. All right, so let's say that we want the area to be 20,000 feet. So I'm going to put 20,000, 1, 2, 3 in here, and we still have the base, that's 250 feet. And now I want to know, what does the height have to be? I know it can't be 70, so what should it be? I'm going to divide by 250, divide by 250. Okay, that cancels each other out. And h is going to have to be 20,000 divided by 250. Now a little trick here is I can cross them out. All right, so now I have 20, or not 20, but 2000 divided by 25. Okay, so that's 008. Okay, that's 200. 0, bring down the 0, 0, 0, 0. So the height would have to be 80 feet. So our answer was no, and in order for the area of the first floor to be 20,000 feet squared and the base 250 feet, the height must be 20,000 feet divided by 250, or 80 feet. Question number 8. Identify structure. Draw and label a parallelogram with a base twice as long as the height and an area less than 60 square inches. Find the area. Okay, boys and girls, This particular question I want to explain to you is one of those questions that you can make super complicated or you can make super easy. All right? Sometimes in life we make things way more complicated than they need to be. It says to draw a parallelogram. Okay, a rectangle is a parallelogram. So instead of drawing a slanted parallelogram and making your life more difficult, just draw a rectangle. Oops, that's a bad rectangle. Just draw a rectangle, okay? That's a parallelogram. Okay? Now, we know that its base is supposed to be twice as long as the height. Okay? Well, the height is going to be the length of the one side. So let's just make that x. So if the base is twice as long, we're going to make that 2x. Now let's go to a formula. Area equals the base times the height. And we want the area to be less than 60. Okay, well let's make, for our first number, let's make x equal 1. All right, so this is just, x is just going to equal 1 and 1. Okay, so the base, this is the base right here. 2 times 1 is 2. And then x is just 1 for the height, so that's 1. So the area is going to equal 3 inches squared. All right, so for this rectangle, we have 2 by 1, and the area equals 3 inches squared. Is that less than 60? Yes. And was this a difficult problem? No. All right, I'm going to erase some work here, and we're going to do a different one. You see how it looked like it was going to be a difficult problem, and then it wasn't a difficult problem? Sometimes life's like that. All right, looks like we have some room, so let's make x 5. All right, so x is 5 and 5. All right, so the base is going to be 2 times 5 is 10, and then 5 is going to be the height, so that will be 50 inches squared. So now I have a rectangle here, and the base is 10, and the height is 5, and the area equals 50 inches squared. And is that less than 60? Yes. So there you go. 2 different answers. Moving on. Question number 9, multiple representations. Draw 5 parallelograms that each have a height of 4 centimeters and different base measurements on centimeter grid paper. A, table. Make a table with a column for base, height, and area. B, graph. Graph the ordered pairs, base, and area. This means that you're going to take the numbers that you have for base and for area and then graph them, okay? And then words, you're going to describe the graph, all right? Now, because everybody's answers are going to be different here, I'm going to give you some sample answers. Okay, if you drew a parallelogram that had a height of 4 and a base of 1, the area would have been 4. So your coordinate pair would have been, this is basically your x and this is your y, all right? So it would have been 1, 4, and then you would have plot 1, 4. And then here, x is the base and y is area. So this would have been 2, 8, and this would have been 3, 12, 4, 16, 5, 20. All right, and then you would graph those in the chart. And basically, it's 1 times 4 equals 4, 2 times 4 equals 8, 3 times 4 equals 12, 4 times 4 equals 16, 5 times 4 equals 20. And then the words describe the graph. It appears to form a line. And I don't have really a straight edge here in my program, but if I did, you could see that it kind of forms like a line. And this is a terrible, terrible line. It should be straight, but hopefully you could see that that would connect. Hot problems. These are our higher order thinking. Question number 10. Persevere with problems. If x equals 5 and y is less than x, which figure has the greater area? Explain your reasoning. Okay, so x is going to equal 5, so this is 5 and this is 5. All right, and then y equals, let's say, 4, and then this is 4. Okay. This is going to be 20. So our question is this going to be more than 20? The area, that is, or less than 20? Because we have to ask ourselves, is the height going to be more than 4 or less than 4? Think about that. The rectangle. The area of the rectangle is 5 times y units squared. The area of the parallelogram cannot be greater than 5 times y units squared, since y is less than 5 and the height of the parallelogram is not greater than y. You see, this length here is longer than the height. This height is always going to be shorter than this length. And I hope you can see that visually too. So this is going to be less than 4, and any number less than 4 times 5 is going to be less than 20. Question number 11. Reason inductively. Explain how the formula for the area of a parallelogram is related to the formula of the area of a rectangle. All right, so here is the area. Rectangle and a parallelogram. Okay. All right. And remember how we took that piece, and I'm going to use my colors. We took this triangle, we basically moved it over here, and it formed a rectangle. Oops, sorry, I erased the whole thing. I have to use red because, okay. All right, well, let's see. Sample answer. Both parallelograms and rectangles have bases and heights. So the formula area equals base times height can be used for both figures. The height of a rectangle is the length of one of its sides, while the height of a parallelogram is the height of the altitude. Question 12. Reason inductively. Give an example of a triangle and a parallelogram that have the same area. Describe the bases and the heights of each figure. Then state the area. For our parallelogram, we're going to keep things simple and make it a rectangle. So we have the area equals base times height. I'm just going to pick a number and say 12 units squared. Okay. And we'll make the base 4 units times 3 units. Okay. So here's my rectangle. And it's 4 units by 3 units. So the area is going to be 12 units because 4 times 3 is 12. All right, so if I want to make this a triangle with the same area, cut this in half, okay? And then I'm going to have to, all right, so here we go. I'm going to shade this in. Where'd my little pen go? I'm going to shade this in blue. And then I'm going to shade this in green. And now I'm going to have to, if you can kind of see here, I'm going to have to flip this over. Okay, so now my green side is over here. Okay, so do you see how this line right here was 4? That means that this is 4. So now this has to be 4 units. Okay, so my area is going to still be 12 units. Okay, but now my base is actually 8 right here. This is actually 4 plus 4 is 8 units. But my height is still 3 units. All right, so here we go. Sample answer. A triangle with a base of 8 units and a height of 3 units has the same area as a parallelogram with a base of 4 units and a height of 3 units, which is 12 units squared. Lesson 1, Area of Parallelograms, page 667, extra practice. Find the area of each parallelogram. Question 13 has been done for you. We are on question 14. Area equals the base times the height. The base is the bottom. We don't have a measurement here, but we know that since it's parallel to the top, it's the same measurement because they are parallel. So if this is 12, this is 12. The measurement on the left matches the measurement on the right because in a parallelogram, opposite sides are equal. So we have 12 meters. The height is 4 meters. The area equals 12 meters times 4 meters, which is 48 meters squared. Question 15. Area equals the base times the height. Area equals 12 inches times 15 inches. Okay, we can do the math on the side. 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Add a 0, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1, add them together. We get 180 inches squared. 180 inches squared. Question 16. Find the height of a parallelogram with a base of 6 75 of a meter and an area of 218 7/10 square meters. Okay, so we have area equals base times height, and our area is 218.7 meters squared equals 6.75 meters times h. We're going to divide by 6.75 meters on both sides. Okay, that cancels each other out on the left, and you can use a calculator. You're going to type in 218.7 divided by 6.75 equals 32.4 meters. Now I'm going to highlight what's going on here again, just to emphasize this. Okay, we actually have meters times meters, that's meters squared, over meters. So that cancels each other out, and you just have 1 meter left, and that's why you have 1 meter left there. So your answer is, I'm going to go with blue. Our answer is 32.4 meters. Okay, question 17. Find the area of a parallelogram with a base of 15 yards and a height of 21 2/3 yards. So area equals the base times the height. Area equals 15 times 21 2/3. Area equals, and I'm sorry, I forgot the units, yards and yards. So you're going to type in your calculator, 15 times 21 2/3 equals 325 yards. Okay, 325 yards. Question 18. What is the area of the region shown on the map? All right, so we have to figure out the base, and the base is usually the bottom, and I have to actually look at the top here. So the base is 48 75 of a mile, and the height is 61 1/4 mile. So the area is going to equal 48.75 miles times 61.25 miles. We're going to multiply those numbers in our calculator. 48.75 times 61.25 equals, this is a gigantic number, 2,985 and 9,375 10,000ths of a mile. I would probably round that, but they don't really tell us to round it in the directions, so that's interesting. 0.9375 miles. Now, I have to say, because we're talking about miles, and miles is such a big unit, I would absolutely round this to 2,986 miles, because miles is not really a precise measurement, so you really wouldn't need to go to the 10,000th place for that. okay? Especially when you're talking about area of such a large area, okay? All right, moving on. I'm going to change my color just because I feel like it. Number 19, what is the height of the parallelogram shaped pattern block shown below? Area equals base times height. So we have 525 millimeters squared equals 20 millimeters times height. So we're going to divide by 21 millimeters, and we're going to divide by 21 millimeters. That's going to cancel each other out, and your height is going to equal 525 divided by 21 equals a height of 25 millimeters. Question number 20. Draw and label each figure, then find the area. A parallelogram with an equal base and height and an area greater than 64 square meters. Okay, again, a parallelogram can be a rectangle. And when you have a rectangle with an equal base and height, what shape do you have? A square. A square is a parallelogram. Opposite sides are equal, and in this case, they all are equal. All right? So, and an area greater than 64 square meters. A parallelogram with an equal base and height and an area greater than 64 square meters. Okay, so this is where your math facts come in. All right, so let's talk about square numbers. Okay, so 1 times 1 equals 1, and 2 times 2 equals 4, and 4 times 4 equals 16, and 5 times 5 equals 25, and 6 times 6 equals 36, and 7 times 7 equals 49, and 8 times 8 equals 64. Woo! But it says it has to be greater than 64. So I can do any number greater than 64. I'm sorry, greater than 8. So I could do 8.1 times 8.1, or I could do a whole number, like 9 times 9 equals 81, or 10 times 10 equals 100, okay? So, draw and label each figure and then find an area. Draw a parallel, okay, so, because we're really smart 6th graders, we're gonna go with decimals. All right, so I guess we're done. Because we drew and labeled a figure. There we go. Moving on. Draw and label each figure, then find the area. Question 21. A parallelogram with a base 4 times the height and an area less than 200 square feet. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. And the base is 4 times the height. So I'm going to make the height x, and then the base is going to be 4 times x. And we want the area to be less than 200 square feet. All right, so the area has to equal less than 200 feet squared. Which again, I think this is one of those questions that seems really complicated, but it isn't. So let's make x equal 1 to see where we start. So we have 1, and we make this 1. And area is going to equal base times height. So we have our rectangle here, and so the height is going to be 1, and the base is going to be 4 times 1, which is 4. Okay, so the area is going to be 4 feet squared. Okay, and let's keep going. Let's make x equal, I don't know, 20. So let's see, about 20. Okay, and 20. All right, so area equals base times height. So here we have 20, and then the base has to be 4 times that, so 4 times 20 is 80. And then the area is going to be 80 times 20, which is 0.016. So that's like way too big. So we're going to have to be like way smaller than that. So let's try 5. Area equals 5 and 20. B times H. Area, oops, that's not an H. Okay. 5 times 20. Area equals 100. Okay. So there you go. Much better. So this is a good answer, this is a bad answer, and this is a good answer. Identify structure. Find the area of the shaded region in each figure. All right. So first we're going to find the area of the yellow portion. So area equals base times height. So area is 25 times 11. So area equals 25 times 11 equals 275 feet squared. And that's the yellow part. Okay, now the white part, area equals base times height. Area equals 12 times 4. Area equals 48 feet squared, and that's white. Now, find the area of the shaded region. So I'm assuming that's the yellow part. So we're going to do 275 feet squared, take away 48 feet squared. 275 minus 48 equals 227 feet squared. 227 feet squared. Identify structure, find the area of the shaded region in each figure. All right, so the yellow and white. All right, for yellow, we have 15 times 8 . 120 centimeters squared. .36 centimeters squared. Okay, And now we're going to subtract 120 centimeters squared, subtract 36 centimeters squared. 120 subtract 36 equals 84 centimeters squared. Excellent work, everyone, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.